As the last brick of the tall tower was being crushed for dust and Noah was beginning to die, a boy was being born in the southern corner of Mesopotamia. It has been nearly 250 years since the fall of the Great Tower in Babylon, and people have developed new ways of talking, dark ways, bitter ways, where they hear without understanding and speak without moving their mouths. Their new communities have been so impacted by this one event that they have altogether abandoned the God that created them in his image and have traded him for gods that they have created in their image. They now worship small pieces of stone and wood that have ears but do not hear, and mouths but cannot speak. The people of the world now seek oracles from walking staves and counsel from the dead. After all, it's easier to worship that which you make, since if the gods are crafted by your own hands, then within you resides the power to choose right from wrong, doesn't it? The scattered people of the world all choosing for themselves what is right, what is the path to life. But 140 miles southwest of the fallen ruins, in an uninteresting part of the world, a common man, Terah, is having his first child, Abram, meaning exalted father. And it is because of this child that by the end of our tale, everything, including the very namesake of Abram himself, will be changed. Many years pass after Abram's birth as the beginning of our tale unfolds. Abram's father, Terah, makes a daring move in the early years of human civilization as he attempts to move his family from the town of Ur, in the land of the Chaldeans, to Canaan. But he ends up stopping and pitching his tent in Haran. But while in Haran, Abram is called to fulfill all that which his father was unable. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your land, go from your relatives, go from your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Now, as odd as it may sound, ancient Hebrew readers and writers always understood that Abram and his family were pagan polytheists, meaning they worshipped many gods. Because of that, however, as the curse of Cain is undone in the man of Abram, here we see that this story will powerfully put on display one incredible attribute of God's character time and time again, namely, his mercy withholding the punishment that humanity deserves. And it is through this very mercy that we will see the power of God unleashed to humanity. But here it is God's mercy that presents Abram with a choice: to exalt the God that has just revealed himself to Abram, or to weigh his commands against the promise of other gods. You see, Abram is met with two paths: a tree of life, or a tree of choosing right from wrong, or himself. And so Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land to the site of Shechem at the oak of Moreh. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." And so Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there, he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built an altar to the Lord there too, and he called on the name of the Lord. And then Abram journeyed by stages to the Negev, as Abram and his company travel around the land to which God had called them. They realize that the chaos of the uncreated order has taken over. There's a famine, a severe famine. Abram's journey from here on begins to be peppered with doubt and anxiety. Has he actually given up everything he had known to follow a God he had not known? Abram thinks he understands the right thing to do. But in our tale of twists and turns, that seldom will be the case. Abram commands his company to flee the land that God had called them to, the land of Egypt. As Abram and his wife Sarai approach the land that they're fleeing to, Abram says to his wife, "Look, I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me but let you live. Please say you're my sister, so it will go well for me because of you, and my life will be spared on your account." Though to Abram this may seem like the right thing to do, Abram's distrust in the God that has protected them is painfully apparent, and when Pharaoh sees Sarai, he is overcome. The Egyptians see her beauty, and they seize her. And since Pharaoh thinks Abram is her brother and would more than like to win his favor, he treats Abram like a king. But God is none too pleased. Not only has Pharaoh acted unjustly in his desire to take whomever he pleases, like Lamech, but God is determined to see justice brought forth for his people. He strikes the land of Egypt with a series of severe plagues. And when Pharaoh finds out the truth about Sarai, he becomes terrified of the powerful God that has come up against him. He sends Abram and Sarai away with a multitude of possessions. But now Abram and his family have another problem. They've become so wealthy that they can't all fit in the land. So he and his nephew Lot decide that they must separate from each other. Lot takes the plains as far as Zoar in the east, near the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abram pitches his tents near the oaks of Mamre and Hebron in the west. And now all would be well if it weren't for the depravity of human sin and the corruption of power. Suddenly, a war of mighty kings is stirred upon the face of the earth like a raging tempest on a mountainside. The key player, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, is on a rampage to take over the whole of the land that God had given to the family of Abram. He has recruited by force or by diplomacy 3 kings to aid in his mighty conquest: Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, and Tidal, king of Goim. But the Siddim Valley is not so easily conquered. Spurred by the threat of war, the 4 kings are met with 5: Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, and an unnamed king of Bela. The armies advance in the valley of Siddim, but the 5 kings just can't seem to hold off the evil 4 for long. The 4 kings advance into the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's when it becomes personal. The 4 warring kings bind and capture Abram's nephew Lot. And when Abram hears of this, armed with 318 trained men, the mighty men of Abram's household strike down the 4 warring kings. They pursue them as far as Damascus. Abram nearly single-handedly rescues Lot. His heroic bravery and courage attract the attention of many officials from the area. You see, it is in the Sheva Valley where Abram is met by 2 kings. The first king, Melchizedek, as it was written of him somewhere else, by translation of his name, it means King of Righteousness, and also the King of Salem, that is to say, the King of Peace. He was without father or mother or genealogy. He had neither beginning of days nor end of life, but he resembled the Son of God, and he continues as a priest forever. He is all that Adam was created to be and could not be. And another king meets Abram in the valley, Bera, meaning the son of evil. He is the king of the wicked city of Sodom, and the 2 kings meet the hero where he stands. Melchizedek brings gifts of bread and wine, and he blesses Abram with a blessing straight from the heart of God. By all accounts, a mere offering of bread and wine would seem weak, but in comparison to the son of evil, king of Sodom, that offering is absolutely nothing. The king of Sodom offers Abram nearly everything he possesses, and Abram refuses. He says that he has sworn an oath to his God, Yahweh, God Most High, the God that has strengthened and protected him. Abram says that he promised God that he would not take anything from the king of Sodom, lest the son of evil claim he made Abram rich and require a return blessing out of sheer gratitude. Abram humbly gives 1/10 of everything he owns to the house of Melchizedek, priest, king of righteousness and peace. Abram believes that the God of Melchizedek is the true, only sovereign God, king of creation, and his faith in this God is beginning to be a shining light to the nations as the kings meet him in the Sheva Valley. And so, it is no coincidence that after this encounter, God appears to Abram shortly thereafter. God makes a promise to Abram right then and there. He says that Abram will have a son, even though he is old in age. He promises that Abram's descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Abram believes the Lord, and he credits it to him as righteousness. But even with God's promises, Abram and Sarai's faith will be tested. Sarai, still childless, suggests that Abram have a child with her Egyptian slave Hagar. Abram agrees, and Hagar conceives Ishmael. However, this decision leads to strife and jealousy between Sarai and Hagar flees into the wilderness. An angel of the Lord finds her by a spring of water and tells her to return to Sarai, promising that her descendants will also be numerous. Years later, God appears again to Abram, now 99 years old, and reaffirms his covenant. He changes Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many, and Sarai's name to Sarah, promising that she will bear a son named Isaac. Despite their old age, Abraham and Sarah laugh at the improbability of this promise, but God assures them that nothing is too difficult for him. Eventually, Sarah gives birth to Isaac, and Abraham's faith is further tested when God commands him to sacrifice Isaac. Abraham obeys without hesitation, but at the last moment, an angel of the Lord stops him, providing a ram as a substitute sacrifice. God praises Abraham for his obedience and renews his promise to bless Abraham and his descendants.